Hey, greetings from our new home in Cleveland, Ohio, and happy St. Patrick's Day. It's March 17th. Hey, we're finally moved and getting settled. Still have boxes to unpack and sort through with progress being made every day. Been connecting with old friends and family and grateful for we're almost to a place of normalcy again in the midst of our hashtag COVID world. Hey, I'm Kelly Renee, and I've had many opportunities to coach myself on patience, understanding my limits, and accepting things I cannot change. Like misplacing my social security card in the moving process and getting a replacement so we can transfer our car titles and get Ohio tags. What fun, especially since our address changed. Did you know you can go online and order a new social security card? The Social Security Administration has a tool to verify your information, including your address, which is cool, except they use your current driver's license, and that doesn't work when your address is different. Oh my goodness, all the drama. You can mail other original documents and that works, but there's no quick, convenient way to make that happen. It takes a couple of weeks. Not a problem as long as you're not in a hurry. Oh Lord. Unfortunately, at least in Ohio, the only way to move forward is with a social security card, which wouldn't have been a big deal, except for the tags on my car were expiring the end of February, and I couldn't do anything about it without my social security card. Oh, I had a feeling as soon as my new card arrived in the mail, the old one would turn up. Isn't that the kind of thing? Isn't that the way things kind of go? Which is exactly what happened. 2 days before the new one came, I did find the old one. Hey, before we go any further, I want to remind you, you are loved and valued and oh so precious. And just in case you haven't heard it today, hey, I do have a question for you. What is radical self-acceptance and why is it important? Have you had days where you wake up and just feel totally blah? Or you get up and every step you take feels like you have a full wardrobe of soaking wet clothing on, and the weight of dragging all that around is just restricting you and holding you back. Me too. Some days are like that. It feels like it might be easier just to stay in bed. What I found is that by taking that first step and doing the thing, my outlook can change, at least enough to get me moving. So I'm not even thinking about how I felt because I'm engaged. How about you? It's important to recognize how we feel, and just as important to understand it's not permanent and we can get past it. Taking action helps. It breaks that cycle and allows us to shift our focus to something else. When I couldn't find my social security card, I was spending a lot of time looking. Boxes of files, moving receipts, my purse, my wallet. Even though the Social Security Administration recommends you not carry your card, but keep it in a safe location. My briefcase, more boxes. Oh my goodness, I had it. I clearly remember seeing it on my desk in Tennessee days before we moved. Oh well, maybe one of the dogs ate it. I don't know. I was thinking all kinds of crazy stuff. When it comes to this kind of stuff, I'm usually pretty organized. Even my brother was surprised that me, of all people, had lost my card. I was beating myself up pretty good too. I tried not to make it about me, and that was a little hard to be honest. How could you do that? Are you stupid? Oh my goodness. That was pretty careless of you. Yeah, it's easy for the old tapes to present themselves and try to capture the moment. I accepted that it happened, and once I did a little investigating, found a way to get the replacement I needed. It wasn't convenient and required multiple phone calls and a trip to the local Social Security office, even though they're closed due to COVID restrictions. It required more patience than I thought I had patience for, and lots of time looking through boxes and papers, but hey, my new card came and I found the old one. Well, squirrel, just a thought for your consideration. Do you know where your Social Security card is? If not, you might want to get one ordered. With voter registration laws getting tougher, might be a good time to make sure you're registered to vote too. Your social security card might be a required document if you need a new ID or driver's license. It is in Ohio. If you're transgender and you want to register with your chosen name, there's a process for that. Every state's a little different, and what with primaries and midterms coming, now might be a good time to work on that. Just a thought. Anyway, I talked to my coach the other day about all the drama that we've been dealing with, and she helped me understand recognizing life can be hard and processing the emotions around that reality are two very different things. I don't know about y'all, but I'm the kind of person who finds it relatively easy to recognize when things get hard, accept it's hard, and begin looking for ways to get through it so I can move on. Sitting in the discomfort of disappointment and sadness are the things I'd like to avoid. I immediately try to jump to solutions and get to work so I don't have to deal. What I learned that day is the importance of dealing with the underlying emotions like disappointment and sadness. Because see, without dealing with those emotions, I suppress them. I try to skip by them and replace them with activities that allow me to avoid. I had an exchange with a guy on LinkedIn recently where I felt like he was using deceptive sales practices and exploded on the poor guy. My righteous indignation was overwhelming, and it quite surprised me. I don't usually show up like that. Maybe it was the pent-up frustration of all the things, all the little disappointments finally exploding like a volcanic eruption. Thinking and saying stuff like, it shouldn't be this hard, isn't always helpful. What if it is supposed to be this hard? Are you going through hard stuff? When I was talking to my coach, I told her I thought I had been doing a good job of coaching myself through all the struggles. And yet, when I exploded on that guy, I was stunned and surprised and disappointed I responded that way. I'm sure he thought I was just being a bitch, and I was. I thought about how I responded and how it won't change one thing. I'm sure he'll continue to do business the way he sees fit. For a while, I was anxious about things we were finding in our new home too. You know, people we bought the home from flipped it, and although there were a lot of improvements, the quality of the work was poor, and things we thought should have been done weren't, or they were done so poorly we had to fix them. It took me a while to come to grips with the fact that I'm not a real estate expert, nor a flip expert, no matter how many HGTV shows I watch. Would I have done it different? Oh, for sure. But then again, it wasn't me who did it. I had to come to grips with the fact that it is what it is, and I can only move on from there. And we're making the best of it. So let's go back to the question. What is radical self-acceptance and why is it important? So much of what we do and who we are is tied to our thoughts and emotions. The outcomes and circumstances we face sometimes have little to do with us. Sometimes it's just the way it is. And yet, how we respond makes all the difference. As a human existing on this earth, I believe we all have inherent value. I heard a preacher Sunday talking about how he wasn't taught to be present with his feelings, how he wasn't aware of the impact feelings had. And as I continue to learn and understand how emotions drive the actions we take, see, we're all different, and our experiences and learned responses make up a big part of who we are. There comes a time where we have a choice. We can choose to stay the same, or we can choose to take the next step. Sometimes it's the difference between living in the generational curses we were raised with or stepping into new, at least for me, uncharted territory. Either way, it's hard. Either way, it takes effort. So would you rather spend the effort to make positive change or continue to live in your current discomfort? So many of us stay stuck because it's known. It's not healthy or comfortable, but the risk of doing something different is paralyzing. We fear change so much we can't see beyond our present reality to a brighter future. If that's you, I'm sorry. You get it, but I'm not hanging around. Life is too precious and too short. This is where radical self acceptance begins with a decision. We aren't perfect beings. None of us are. And despite that fact, I believe we're all doing the best we can. Our past doesn't define us. And so, one of the first things we can do is to begin to love ourselves unconditionally. Sure, we've made mistakes, and we can forgive ourselves for those mistakes and enter into a space of acceptance that allows grace for ourselves and for others. I always thought it was easier to forgive someone else than it is to forgive myself. It seemed easier for some reason, as if they were more worthy of forgiveness than I am. It's only when I recognize we all make mistakes and we all need forgiveness could I begin to forgive myself. I'm not the person I was, and as I grow and evolve, I will be different in the future. Brene Brown has done a lot of work around shame, and one thing I recall that was really helpful was the way she distinguished shame from making a mistake. When I mess up, shame says, I am a mistake, versus admitting I made a mistake. Accepting I'm not going to get it right 100% of the time isn't a bad thing. I'm still going to fail and make mistakes. The difference is how I talk to myself about those failures and what I make it mean about me. Positive self-talk can be helpful along with the mantras that guide us in more positive direction. But let's face it, mantras by themselves aren't the be-all and end-all. We can find a way to internalize them and own them, and that's where the difference is made. It all takes work, persistent effort, moving in an intentional direction. As a life coach, this is the important work I do with my clients. You're valuable and capable, and in order for transformation, your dreams, in order to transform your dreams into workable goals, your self-acceptance is critical. Clearly, adopting radical self-acceptance is more than forgiving yourselves and cutting yourself some slack. It's only the beginning of a journey. I'm not going to deliver a 12-step program to transform your life. Transformation comes when you do the work, one step at a time. No matter where you're starting from, you can get there. I believe that in the depths of my heart. You can do it. Hey, I love you all. I miss you all. I'm so glad to be back after this long hiatus. I hope to see you soon. And remember, life's too short. Be kind, do good. Till next